Tom Fox, staff photographer Dallas Cowboys defensive tackle David Irving, 95, and the rest of the line watches the Atlanta Falcons cruise to win in the fourth quarter at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, Sunday, November 12, 2017. Tom Fox, The Dallas Morning News, Scottsdale, ARZ. One defensive lineman quit to smoke weed and pursue a career outside football. Another finds himself suspended for the fourth time in his Cowboys career. The most productive of the bunch is locked in a contractual impasse with management. Much of what coach Jason Garrett had to say from the NFL annual meeting had to do with the team's defensive line. He spoke of a player, David Irving, who will not be part of the team going forward, two he desperately wants to return, Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence, and the clubs need to address the position heading into the season. Let's start with Irving, a free agent who announced his retirement onto social media shortly after he was suspended yet again for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. The defensive tackle was quoted in USA Today saying that Garrett called him a distraction and told him to just quit, smoke all the weed I want. Garrett responded during breakfast with the media Tuesday morning, to that particular point, the only thing I would say is there are some rules and parameters you have in the NFL if you want to play, Garrett said. You have to follow those rules, independent of what your opinions are on any particular topic. You have to stay within the confine of the rules or they're not going to let you play. Something so important to you to break those rules, that prevents you from playing, you're making a decision about what you value most. I was just trying to indicate to him if you want to play in the NFL these are the rules, these are the parameters you have to follow. Hopefully he understands that. Gregory, who has failed or missed at least 5 tests during his time with the Cowboys, is also suspended. In Garrett's eyes, there's a big difference in the two. Without going into the details of all the things he's done to try to get to the point where he can play for us, it's been a very serious approach as an organization and his approach has been serious, Garrett said. He's been able to make strides. He was able to come back and play for us and be a very productive player and a productive guy in our locker room. Unfortunately, my understanding of all of this is sometimes relapse is part of rehab, so we're working through the process of suspension right now with the NFL. But Randy Gregory is working very hard trying to get back, trying to get the situation under control, and we're doing everything we can under the rules to help him do that. Gregory has 6 sacks and forced 2 fumbles in 14 games last season. This came after he missed 30 of 32 games over the previous 2 seasons with suspensions. The Cowboys continue to support Gregory but understand that has consequences for how this defensive line is assembled. When you have a player like that who hasn't been as available for you as you want him to be, you have to make sure you have other players who can be available, Garrett said. We've been very clear on that, as an organization, that we can't necessarily count on him because of his history. As an organization, we've got to make sure we have a plan in place. We can't assume he's going to be available to us. We have to make sure we have players who can be impactful for us at his position. Lawrence is the most impactful player the Cowboys have in the defensive line. Executive Vice President Stephen Jones acknowledged the two sides are at an impasse when it comes to a new contract. The goal that I always have in these situations is let's make it a win-win, Garrett said. We want you to make more money. The Joneses want you to make more money, but having said that, we want to be part of a team that can compete for a championship. And in doing that, you have to have discipline under the salary cap. Where does all of this leave the Dallas defensive line at the moment? Tackles Kerry Hyder and Christian Covington have been signed in free agency. The club remains in discussions with Miami to obtain veteran defensive end Robert Quinn, a move that should be classified as imperative. Jones believes the draft, one in which the Cowboys don't have a first-round pick, is deeper than it's been in many years. The search for more defensive line talent continues. I would still categorize that as our no. One need, Jones said. The Cowboys have no control over Gregory's fate but are hopeful he will return to the mix. Irving won't, as he positions himself to be a spokesman of sorts for legalizing marijuana and pursues business opportunities in the growing cannabis industry. Again, I don't want to delve into this much more than I already have, but suffice it to say there are certain things you have to do if you want to have the privilege of being a player, a coach or a staff member in the NFL, Garrett said. If you don't want to follow those things, you aren't going to have the opportunity to do this. Twitter, @DavidMoreDMN.